Do we have takeaways from Saturday's action or what you learned over the last few weeks, hearing about what was happening behind the scenes on the practice field with Tennessee's football team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaways for me are, the fact that, Tennessee is a pretty healthy football team leaving spring. They're a more athletic football team than they were a year ago at the skill positions, both in the secondary and at wide receiver. And there's a great unknown at the tailback position as we head into, the summer months. So, very few questions about this football team. There are a couple, but, on the whole, I think this is a football team that is mature, talented, and has everything right in front of them as they head to the summer.
You mentioned the unknown at running back. How does Tennessee address that? Do they address it with what they have and develop the guys that might have a bigger opportunity than expected because of Cameron Seldon's injury? Do they continue to look at the portal? What do you think about the running back position now?
That's a great question, Josh. I think they've at least, looked into some running backs that are in the portal, but I'm not sure that they've decided they're going to go after one. I know there was the report last night that the Martinez kid from Oregon State was going to visit, but he wasn't. That never got that far. And I think the kid was, trying to use, Tennessee's history of being a big player in NIL to kind of drive up his price. He since now said he's not visiting after saying he was last night. Again, I think that, if they could find the right combination of, someone that could help, isn't going to command a ton in NIL, then they would definitely go that route. But it's not that Tennessee's unwilling to spend. They just I think they view certain positions with a greater importance when it comes to NIL than the running back spot. You're not going to bring somebody in, that's, going to rock the boat with Dylan Sampson too much because, he's one of your key leaders on your football team. So, again, I think that if they could find the right piece, they would probably look at bringing somebody. But at this point, I would lean to them not bringing anybody.
What position that maybe Tennessee would look into the portal and add would be worth using NIL to get that type of player?
We talked about this a little bit earlier today on Volquest. At this point, I just don't think they'll be a big player for anything. Listen, if they lost, let's just play general. I don't know, predicting or previewing anything for anybody that knows I like to kind of hint at things. I'm not right here. But, let's say they lost a safety. I think they would go out and replace that person with another safety.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going to get a safety. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
I think if it's one for one. Right now, there's nobody that I can go, that Tennessee's definitely going to look to fill that spot. Could they look to add another offensive lineman to compete for the left guard spot? Yes, but, I'm not sure they want to go that route either. They got 20 offensive linemen on the roster, which is once you get all the guys in here like Bennett Warren, you normally are sitting around 17. So they have a lot of bodies. So, at some point you got to coach them up and develop and get those guys to the field.
Austin Price of Volquest.com is with us. Tennessee did see Elijah Herring decide to enter the transfer portal. Thoughts on that news and the effect on the linebacker position as they have Keenan Peely back from injury, some other young players I know they like at linebacker as well?
Yeah, he's announced his intentions to enter. As of right now, I do not believe he's entered. And, that's all about, getting your paperwork turned in. Then Tennessee has 48 hours to put the kid in the portal, which gives every team like Tennessee a chance to talk the kid into staying. So we'll see. I don't think it's a lock that he's gone. Even if he does end up in the portal, I think that there's a chance that he could end up back here. I know Coach Inge has worked him really hard the last 48 hours. He talked about it a little bit back in the winter window, and then chose to stick around. He had, surgery, missed spring, and I think were probably, I won't say like surprised, but at the same time, like, I don't believe they thought he was going to leave. And so like they've kind of worked to try to keep him. We'll see if Tennessee can kind of, reel him back in and he'll be a part of this football team. Again, I don't think it's a lock at this point that he's for sure gone.
Why would Herring decide to leave if he does, and what is Tennessee's pitch, do you think, to keep him at Tennessee?
Well, it all boils down, it ain't money. It simply boils down to, playing. And he played a lot last year, but a lot of that was predicated. I mean, he was going to play last year, but like the amount of snaps he played last year was predicated on the injury to Peely, the injury to Arian Carter. Like Tennessee was, fairly thin at linebacker last year, and even the players they had behind him, like T-Lander and even Carter before he got hurt, were true freshmen. And so, I think it just boils down to playing time. And I think the pitch is, hey, look, maybe you're not going to play 70 snaps, but you're not going to go back to playing 15 either. There's a happy medium there. Like, do you really want to we would rather have you for the best version of yourself for 35 to 40 snaps than a gassed Elijah Herring in the fourth quarter playing 70. And you got to think about, put what you put on tape. Is a great 35 to 40 on tape better than, 70 where you get tired? I think the pitch is like, let's build upon what you did last year and put you in the best position to be successful. And obviously his brother's here. I don't believe his brother will go anywhere, especially for this season. And that's kind of where I'm at with all these kids. Is I think you just have to kind of stay in the moment for this one season, like, because a lot can change, good and bad, for all programs, in the course of one off season.
David Sanders, the 5-star, highly rated tackle, was in attendance along with his mom and his dad. Kind of where do you feel like Tennessee stands with him?
I feel like Tennessee is positioned as well as they could be, Jason. A lot of people got like Clemson for him. I currently like Tennessee, as we said here, on April 17th or whatever it is. I just feel like Tennessee has done a tremendous job there. I think he jives really, really well with Glenn Ellerby. Obviously, the Tennessee commits have done a nice job of working on him. It's close enough to home where mom and dad could come and attend practice, and that's something that Josh Heupel allows. Not all schools allow that. And I think that, Tennessee is very much deep in play with David Sanders. Again, it's April 17th. He's going to take his official visits. This thing could change a few different times between now and when he announces sometime in the summer. But, as of right now, it feels like Tennessee has done a really, really good job and has put themselves in position to land David Sanders.
Austin, any other prospects coming out of the last week, maybe 2 weeks, where you think things are more interesting or anything stands out on what you've heard prospects checking out Tennessee on campus with where things are with their recruitment?
Yeah, I think Tennessee is, they went from being kind of a fringe team for Derek Meadows, the wide receiver from Bishop Gorman, to being a team I think it's firmly in play. We'll get an official visit this summer. Wide receiver out of Las Vegas, same high school as Cedric Tillman. He's been coached by former Vol Marcus Nash. They've done a nice job there. I think Tennessee's done a really nice job with Radarius Jackson, who, probably even early this week, I thought was more in the infancy of his recruitment, but the more I've kind of dug into things, the more it feels like, the rubber's going to meet the road, sooner than I thought. And I think Tennessee's done a really nice job there. They've I think, done a really nice job with a guy like Charles House, defensive lineman from over in Charlotte, who was here this past weekend. So, I think Tennessee is really having a nice cycle. Again, you got to still get them in the boat. Last year they were positioned with a few kids, and then things kind of flipped on them. They've still got to keep the pedal down with some of these kids. But I think that as of right now, we stay here in the middle part of April. It feels like Tennessee has done a really nice job with this 2025 class, not only led by the staff but led by George McIntyre.
Hey, Austin, a quick question at linebacker. So we'll see what happens with Elijah Herring. We went through some other names. We had somebody yesterday bring up Edwin Smillman. What have you heard about him, how things went through spring practice, well thought of in-state linebacker in this 2024 class?
You mean Willie Mays Hayes? I mean, like, he pretty much just, like, walked straight out there in his pajamas and started practicing, having been in school. It, you know, and for the older people, they'll understand what Willie Mays Hayes is, and for the younger people, they probably won't. But, you know, he wasn't here for all of winter conditioning and came straight from Lipscomb and started spring practice, you know, second week of March. And, man, I mean, just tells you how smart of a kid he is. He picked up things really fast. Physically, he's always been gifted. But he's pushing, you know, and I mean, like, I don't know how much he plays this fall. I bet he plays a lot on special teams, and obviously he'll be a part of the, you know, the deep rotation at linebacker. But, you know, if I'm some of those older linebackers, you got to be paying attention to what is now number 47. I'm not sure he'll be that when we get to practice in the fall, but looks like a young Tyrone Hines out there running around. That's another one the older Vols will get. Jason Swain has no clue who Tyrone Hines is.
Yeah, man. That's Tyrone. Who don't know Tyrone?
Major League, 30. We're at 35 years old now? My goodness.
Yeah, just 35.
Yep. Spillman, somebody to be excited about, and I love the Willie Mays Hayes reference, by the way, just to set the record straight, Austin. With baseball in mind, I'll throw you a quick curveball before we let you go. Over under 1.5 wins for Tennessee at Kentucky this weekend.
You know, that place has been a house of horrors for the Vols. You know, it's not going to be super cold up there. What, like 2 years ago when they played up there, and it was awful. You know what?
Do it.
I'm gonna go 2.
Do it.
Go over.
Yes. There you go, AP.
Okay.
You saw those bombs last night to a Kentucky team. We're going to do it again to another Kentucky team this weekend.
Grand Slam City. Tennessee's going to try to take it up north to Lexington this weekend. So Austin Price can cover you on more than just football and football recruiting. He loves the over-unders, and he's going over on Tennessee 1.5 wins. A series win is his prediction in Lexington. Big top 5 matchup between Tennessee and Kentucky in baseball. Volquest.com, they'll have you covered with baseball, what's happening there, basketball. We had a good conversation yesterday with Grant Ramey. He and Rob Lewis keeping up with that. And, of course, everything happening with football and football recruiting. A lot of action right now in season and out of it. Austin, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
I'm also going over on Google participation by Jason Swain on Willie Mays Hayes and Tyrone Hines.
I know Willie Mays Hayes.
Swain just keeps a running chat GPT thread during
It's
the
so
show,
reliable.
especially after last week it had him playing for the Utah Blaze and celebrating his 41st birthday just last month. So,
Yeah, man. Internet's always reliable.
yep, it's keeping up with Swain right down to the T. Austin, thank you again. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.